Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for listening to the newest episode of Sadie and Shawn Have No Friends. Shawn, how are you doing today?
I think I'm good. I moved my setup here back to my house for a day, and things are a little wonky.
I love it when you work from home because then you sometimes have the same issues that I have where like a kid will just walk by and you're like, "What
Oh,
are you doing?"
they've been threatened with their lives.
If they do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How are you doing today,
The
Shawn?
dog too. I already
Oh,
answered you. You already asked me that, and I
did
already
I
answered.
really? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Oh, yeah, you said I think I'm doing okay. So, let's just jump right into it. Why did I never know about ESPN Ocho? Do you know about ESPN
Mm-hmm.
Ocho?
Yeah, it was a thing in the dodgeball movie, and then
It's a
ESPN
thing. No,
actually
it's
did
a
it. Yeah, they
yes.
actually did it. It was supposed to be. It was like to celebrate. If I remember correctly, it was to celebrate one of the anniversaries of the movie Dodgeball. They did it one time, and people watched it. So now they do it all the time.
Oh my gosh. Over the weekend, I was watching ESPN Ocho because we were out eating somewhere and it was on like the TV. And the game was Slippery Stairs, where these people, these people, oh my God, this is so great. There's this like huge set of stairs like in the Rocky movies, and they just lay a tarp down and then they put soap and water. This is like the most amazing thing. And then people try to run up it while other people pour water on them from above. So they like
Do they wear
this.
pads?
No, I'm like, this is the best sports event. Like now I get sports. Before I was like, what is this shit? And now I get it because of ESPN Ocho, which I am now obsessed with. Even though sometimes, because I turned it on the other day and they had, what is that, beanbag tossing, cornhole. They
Mm-hmm.
were doing like a
That's
cornhole
not always
tournament.
on Ocho. That sometimes makes it to the real ESPN.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I was pretty bored with that after watching people fall downstairs. And then they had like, and they're like savage on ESPN Ocho because they had like a kid, like these same stairs that adults are just eating shit on and rolling all the way down. Then they had kids doing it, like a group of kids. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm
I'm
adding
really
this.
surprised because I've heard of people dying from falling down the stairs. I'm surprised they don't wear pads.
Okay, let me look it up because I don't think they were wearing pads. It
You
looked
were
like they were.
watching. Were
I
they
know.
in
I'm
gym
trying to
shorts or were
think
they in
back.
like a did they look like a hockey
Let me see.
goalie?
I'm trying, okay. No, they didn't look like a hockey goalie. ESPN Ocho.
At least a helmet,
Let me
like a
see.
bike helmet.
No, no, unless I'm looking at this wrong. Slippery Stairs, ESPN Oh, no, they are wearing helmets, but that's it. That's the
Okay,
only
that
padding
makes me feel better.
that's the only
I mean,
padding
if you
that
break an arm, you break an arm, you can live with that. But if you hit your head too many times, then you go mentally ill. I mean, it happens to the football players. Aaron Hernandez got
Oh,
hit in the head
yeah.
too many times. He started murdering people.
I know. God dang it. I've never been hit in the head that many times where actually I have. No, I've never really thought of murder because A, I watch Dateline all the time and people don't get away with shit because they're dumb. And I would be one of those dumb people. And B, I couldn't survive in the slammer. I couldn't. I would die. We've talked about this before, but I
I
was
would
so
too.
excited.
Sometimes I'll like that. Sometimes I watch Dateline or even like these murder shows on Netflix, and I'm like, man, they did it really, really good. There's no way they're gonna get caught, and they get caught.
They
Like
get
if you
caught.
murder somebody, the chances of you getting caught, I feel like, are about 99%. There's that
Yeah.
one little percent where maybe you get away with it. Like this is a really unfortunate circumstance because it was such a sad story, but it happened close to us. The John Benet Ramsey thing. Somebody murdered
Yeah.
that little girl and they've gotten away with it
They
all
got
these
away
years
with
later.
it.
But that's just the 1%. The 99%, you get caught. Like no matter how good you think you are at murdering, they're gonna catch you. And so you're basically signing away your life too when you kill somebody else, that you're going to go sit in the slammer. And if you're a dude, then you know what that means. Not fun unless you're
If
into
you're a
that sort of
chick,
thing.
I don't know what that means. I feel like I would have to join some sort of lady gang, and I'm just
You
not
wouldn't
cool
make it.
enough.
No.
I would die immediately. Although, may I bring something up, Shawn? because I feel like if we're going to read the bad, we should also throw some good in there. We got a
Mhm.
message. And remember, it feels like years ago that guy Lorenzo said I'm a 2 and ugly. Yeah, I never forgot that shit, Lorenzo. But
Lorenzo, I feel the same watch.
Sadie is a 1, and she's lucky she's married, and her boobies are about to be saggy.
about to be, that's an old recording.
Anyway,
So we got a message on the Sadie and Shawn Have No Friends. I think it was the Instagram page, and it was a girl, and she said, I'm starting to listen and I'm on episode like 56 or something. And I think that's one where somebody called me ugly because it's happened a couple times. And she's like, I am a lesbian and I think you are so hot. And I am like, oh my God, thank you. Dudes think I'm fugly, but and you know what? I take more pride in the fact that a chick thinks I'm hot because women are the most picky about shit. You know what I mean? Like dudes
mhm.
will bone a log if they have to where women, we're a little bit more particular about what gets us going. So I'm very honored. I would like to thank Lindsay. I'm going to name her ass out because there's a lot of Lindsays in the world,
Do
you
you think,
know?
Lindsay, most people don't like just say those kind of things? And I'm thinking from a guy's perspective, don't get me wrong, but
Okay.
most people don't say those kind of things just to be nice and just say, hey, you're so hot. Usually there's like,
No, no, no. But
I
what
want
she
to,
was
I
saying
want to
was,
do you.
oh no, she didn't say I want to. She
They
did
don't say
say
that right away. That's how it starts. It starts with, I think you're really hot, but it means,
I wanna do you. She wants to
mhm.
do
Would you do her?
me? What an honor. I don't think I would do anybody but Ryan. I don't. But she did say Ryan had better she said Ryan should watch what I'm trying to find the message. It was like Ryan really needs to make sure he keeps you happy. And I'm like, yeah, no shit, dude.
All
I
right.
mean, I don't know. Maybe I don't know, but I
Yeah,
just
that's
thought
further than just like a compliment. That's not just a compliment. That's a compliment with another step.
with like, "I wanna hook up with you?"
I think
Oh, be
so. I mean,
damn, the old girl still got it, Shawn, at least with the lady folk or
oh,
this
good for
one
you.
lady.
Good for you. We've talked about this many, 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 many times, and I can relate because I definitely get hit on by more dudes than chicks.
I've seen it like 8 times, 8 different dudes. Shawn is like a pecker magnet.
I used to
Um
be. Now I have a bad haircut and a mustache, and they leave me alone.
That's all it took. Now he doesn't have to beat him out with the stick anymore, but I was so excited. I wrote that down, ESPN Ocho, because I was like, "Holy God, this is the most brilliant idea ever." And I didn't know it started with the movie Dodgeball, but that's where it started, like jokingly, and then which is brilliant of them, of
Brilliant of
ESPN.
dodgeball or ESPN. Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think it was supposed to be, like I said, a one-time stunt to celebrate an anniversary of the show, and then people must have watched it because you don't do it over and over and over again unless people watch it. But let's be real, how many people are actually watching? First of all, not many people watch ESPN anymore because I feel like everyone's cut the cord and
Yeah.
there's no cable, and
I have
so
not cut the cord yet. I just feel like it's like it's tethered to me, which is
yeah, I get
dumb.
it. I think it's our generation that has trouble doing it because I'm the same way. And so, but how many people are actually watching people fall up at the stairs? Like it's funny for a second, but you're not going to go back to it and watch it again.
Okay, well, you are sorely mistaken. If you are watching this, or no, if you're just listening to this episode, you should watch it on our YouTube channel because as we're speaking, am going to put footage of people falling up the stairs. And I want you to tell me that you couldn't sit all damn day and watch that because it was amazing and I loved it. So I'm definitely going to be watching that. Now I'm really not going to be pulling the cord on canceling cable because I
Yeah,
don't
that's good.
know.
There's a
I
lot of
just
those weird channels though too. I've noticed like not just ESPN the Ocho, but there's very niche channels. There's
yes.
two cowboy channels now. Like I like the cowboy lot, but there's one that's like it's called the Cowboy Channel and it's all about rodeo all the time and they just like you
Oh.
can watch rodeo all the time and that's very interesting to me. Rodeo seems like a pretty niche sport. Like I know there's a big following from some folks, but like the general person isn't just going to sit and watch a rodeo on a Tuesday night at 7:30. I wouldn't think. There's that channel. And then there's this other one, they're tied together. It's called RFD TV, and it was like for farming people originally, but now they just play reruns of Hee Haw all the time. And my grandpa probably keeps them in business because every time I'm at his house, Hee
He
Haw's
likes
on
Hee Haw?
RFD TV. Yeah.
Oh, is it like a see, and this is another thing, it is our generation because I'm like, okay, there used to be 5 channels, literally 5 channels. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then you're very young and good on you. But that's all there was to choose from. And now I'm like, what is on what? What is this? I would never even know that there's a channel dedicated to just rodeo. To where back when there were just 5 channels, you knew everything. It was like Thursday night, must see TV. You know, you knew the times. Now that's so irrelevant. Which can I lead you into this next thing I wanted to ask you?
Yeah.
Okay. So I get this prep sheet with like show ideas and topics, and this was interesting to me, but Bill Gates back on this date, what was it, 15 years ago? Let me grab the article. Was talking about how, okay, Bill Gates 10 years ago said that DVDs will be obsolete. And this is the 10-year anniversary of when he said that. And
Well,
he's right.
DVDs have been obsolete for 4 years, maybe 5 or 6.
Yeah, but
So,
he called it 10 years ago
well, that one wasn't hard. I'm not giving him an honor medal for that one. That wasn't hard. I probably could have predicted that one too.
that DVDs wouldn't last forever.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, nothing lasts forever,
Especially
obviously, but
technology. Like that, of course it's going to go away. Of course you're going to watch TV on your computer.
yeah. No, I get what you're saying. But the other day I was cleaning out our crawl space, which is I hate doing that. But I was cleaning it out and Ryan has this like box of DVDs and I am like, let's just part ways. We don't have a DVD player anymore. We have no way of playing this and he can't let it go. There are just some movies he can't let it go. And I'm like, it's just as easy. You just search for it. Again, there are so many different options. If you want to watch the most obscure movie, you can find it somewhere on one of the streaming channels, but he just can't let it go. What's wrong with us? I can't let go of cable and he can't let go of DVDs.
Shannon had a box of DVDs, and it was actually our box of DVDs. It was like a mutual, like came together when we got together collection of DVDs. And she's a pack rat. I've talked about this many times. And when we moved this last time a couple of years ago, I finally just tossed the DVDs. Like I couldn't fathom the thought of lifting that box into a moving truck one more time and knowing that we were never going to watch them. Like you said, there's no DVD players anymore. You can't watch them even if you want to watch them. And I can play the same movie that is in that box right now on demand. So they went in the trash without even me asking. And that's probably rude, but I'm the one
Do
that
you
had to move
think
the
that
box 6 different times before this, and I wasn't doing it again.
have you told her does she know that you
Nope,
threw them
she will
away?
now.
Well, and you know what? I guess if she never said anything, what are you going to do? You could say, "Well, you never said anything." I need to just
Oh, she said something. She said
what
many times,
like
"I wanna
where's my
keep it. I
DVDs?
want"
Oh, I
no.
want to
Yeah, I
oh,
wanna keep it. She also keeps clothes. We've talked about this too, but she keeps
yeah.
clothes, like, from middle school
Yeah, but that makes
and
sense
won't
because
let
if
me
you go
throw
to
them
like
away.
no, but that makes sense because if you go to like Target or Old Navy or and all their clothes look like shit that I wore in high school. And so that right there, that's smart. I think she's smart. And weren't you saying that Shay wears some of it too?
Well, at one time, Shannon was like, "Why don't we go through these boxes and see if you can find anything?" And I think you're a little bit off. Like, yes, some things come back in style to an extent, but it's not the same. Like there's little nuances that are a little bit different about the style that comes back. And it was like, "No, I'm not wearing any of that. Absolutely not. Good try."
I want a boyfriend, mom.
Yeah. Not only that, but there's something weird, I think, too. And I can't speak girl language because I'm not one, but I think that there's probably something weird about wearing your mom's clothes that she wore in middle school, even if it was the coolest piece of clothes ever. But like
No
my mom
way. I
wore
would
that in middle
totally do
school. Like,
it.
hmm.
I would totally do it. If my mom had kept stuff, I bet it would be so cool now because of the era that, she went to high school in. I bet it would be cool. But she didn't keep anything. So I say good on Shannon. But the DVD thing, I agree. And I don't know why, now that I think about it, downstairs in our TV, like our hutch thing, we've got one of those books of your dog just
Yeah, I can't threaten the dog with its life by walking behind me, so that's just how it
Sorry,
goes.
that just totally took my focus, but we have one of those books that you carry around and or you used to. And but DVDs, obsolete. I'm proud of you for taking the leap, but now you're gonna get your ass chewed.
Well, I wouldn't if it wasn't for this podcast because I don't think that you would ever know.
Oh yeah. That's true.
So
When I mean, but what would you do if on a rainy Sunday afternoon she's
she's
like,
never, it would never happen. Never happen. Why would you want to see your DVDs so that you can look at them because you can't play them?
I love how angry you get about stuff. That's the best. Okay,
Hey,
so
speaking of vintage stuff though, there's this guy that I know, he's a friend of mine, and I like wearing like vintage
t-shirts.
t-shirts like
Mhm.
of rock stars and country singers and stuff like that. But let me let out a little piece of truth. Most of my
It's
vintage
on
shirts aren't
Amazon.
actually vintage. They're remade and I buy them on Amazon for like $6 and they're knockoffs from China, but it is what it is. So anyways, this guy noticed that I wear those and I had a NASCAR one on and he's like, he hit me up and this is an older guy. He's probably double my age, really, really nice guy. And he's like, hey, dude, I used to collect real NASCAR shirts like from back in the 80s and 90s. And these were like the obnoxious NASCAR shirts where it's got like 5 pictures of the driver and then it's got the car like streaming across and it's
Maybe
all
there's like
bright and
a full
colorful.
moon in the
Yeah.
corner.
Well, they're full on cheesy, but they're beautiful and lovely. And they're kind of popular right now. I was actually talking to a country artist the other day who's wearing them, and he says he spends like $150 a shirt to buy authentic vintage NASCAR shirts. And so, anyway, this guy hits me up, and he was like, "Do you want some of these? Because they're just sitting in my garage in a box." And I
Oh my
was like,
gosh.
"No, no, I don't want you to send me your shirts. Like that's very nice of you, but I don't want you to." Next thing I know, I've got this box that shows up at my house like 2 months ago
How
of
the
all
heck?
these
Oh,
vintage
well, he's your
NASCAR
friend.
shirts, and
Okay.
they're XLs. Now I wear a medium. Sometimes I'll wear a large, but I like my shirts to fit pretty tight. And I'm a pretty skinny guy. And so I'm not wearing an XL. I'll never wear these shirts. So they've been sitting in my closet and don't clean the closet very often, but I cleaned
Yeah.
the closet this weekend and there were those shirts and they're cool and I like them, but I don't have any use for them and they're hot right now. They're popular. So would it be shitty of me to put them on eBay?
I didn't see that coming. It would be a little shitty. Just because
'Cause
if the person found out and this is your friend, so it wasn't like a random dude. Because one day he's gonna see you and be like, "How'd those shirts go?" And then I know you, you're gonna have a hard time lying and being like, "Well, no, you won't have a hard time lying. You could lie." But do you really wanna tell him if it ever comes up that you
Well,
sold his shit on eBay?
I wouldn't tell him that. I've already told him that they don't fit. So when he sent them to me, I said, thank you, of course. I texted him and I was like, hey, got the shirts. Thank you. I love them. I don't know if you were planning on me wearing them, but if you were, like, I can't fit in an XL. They're way too big for me. They're like, I could fit 4 of me inside of these things. And so do you want me to send them back? Because I can't wear them. They're too big. And he's like, no, just keep them. Maybe someday one of
You'll
your
get
kids
fat.
will. Yeah, he did say that
What if
actually one
one
day. One day you'll get fat. He said one day maybe your kids will get way more buff than you and they can wear them. But the problem is they're hot right now. Like this vintage NASCAR stuff from the 90s is hot right this second. It won't be in 5 years. And so I feel
Yeah.
like time's a ticking. They're either going to sit
Oh,
in a
on
box
selling
and
it
they're
on
going to
eBay.
collect dust forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And
Why don't you reach out to
eventually
your
they're going to be
country
like a
music.
DVD. I'm going to just
Oh,
throw them away because I don't want to move them anymore. But right now is the moment. Right now is the time where I could sell them and I could make us money. If I could sell these, if this dude's buying these things for $150 a piece, he sent me like 15 of them. Even if I got $100 a piece for them, that's $1,500. Even if I got $50 a piece, that's $750.
ma you've done the math. I can see that.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I might do it.
I kinda think you should now. I mean, if you already told him these don't fit and,
He said,
I
don't
mean,
send them
unless my
back.
children end up wearing an extra large, and then even then when they're at that age, or maybe they're stressed about bills, putting on some pounds, are they gonna be in style then? Who
No, they
knows?
won't. They won't
Yeah.
be. And so
Sell them.
it's the time. The time is now to sell them. Maybe I'll just like randomly send him if I get $1,500 out of these things, maybe I'll randomly send him like a $200 gift card to Starbucks or something. Just I won't tell him. I can't tell him that I sold him because I do think that's rude, but I don't think that it's rude to just send him a $200 gift card from Starbucks and be like, "Hey dude, I really appreciate those shirts."
I think that's a good idea. That's how you cleanse your soul. But I mean, don't you think you should 50-50 with him?
Nope. He gave me the shirts. They're mine. I don't have to give him anything.
You're right, Shawn. You're right, you don't. Now, how long ago I'm sorry if I missed this. How long ago were you given these NASCAR
I've had
shirts?
them for a couple of months now.
Oh, so it hasn't been that long though, but yeah, you're right. I mean, time's a ticket and then you're just gonna take them to the Goodwill, so just see if you could get anything out of them.
That's the other thing Shannon gets mad at me about, and I did it again this last weekend, but I used to take all my clothes to the Goodwill, but now, like, it's kind of a hassle because have you tried to take anything to the Goodwill? So many people take so
I go
much
like
junk to
once
the Goodwill
I
that
go like once a
they
week.
don't just let you drop stuff off like you once did. They have to look through it now, and it's a process, and they have to write you a ticket, and you have to
Like
wait
a
in
tax
line a lot of
write-up.
times, especially if you go on the weekend, and it's a lot, and this is shitty of me, but I don't have time to deal with all of that. So, oftentimes, I'll purge my closet, and I'll go through and I did it this weekend because I was cleaning my closet, and I need to get I don't have enough hangers for all my shirts, and so I need to get hanger space, so I'll purge some shirts, and instead of putting them in the bag and taking them to Goodwill, I put them in the bag and I just put right in the
You
trash
leave
can.
the bag.
No, I don't leave the bag. I put it right in my trash can. I just throw them away.
What? Shawn, that's like a sin.
I think
Okay,
though, if they're not good enough for me, I've got 500 shirts, and if these are the 5 or 6 or 10 that didn't make the cut, no one wants those. No one
wait,
wants
that's
those.
not true. Somebody will always need something like that. I mean, are you getting rid of them because they're ripped and beat to hell, or are you getting rid of them because they're not cool anymore, or you
There's a
just don't wear
couple of
them?
them that have, like, shrunk up. A lot of times when you dry shirts, they'll shrink up, and then they become like a crop top, and I don't wear crop tops. So, there's some that in that category. Some that used to be white and have been washed with jeans too many times, and now they're like a
Yeah,
grungy yellow. Nobody wants that. And then
yeah, that's
there's some that are just, like, old. Like, I've had them probably since I was in high school, and I've held on and held on and held on, and it finally was time for them to make the cut. Nobody wants any of those 3 categories. Nobody wants those. Nobody wants a shirt from 2007 from Abercrombie& and Fitch. Nobody wants that.
That's not true. Look at what we're talking about right now. We're talking about these NASCAR shirts that are vintage that you're gonna try to sell. So I don't know. I'd start throwing stuff into that box that Shannon has already made and just start saving stuff because damn, your kids could go to college one day. I don't know, off of NASCAR shirts.
Here's the difference between me and Shannon, the biggest difference, and that is she is a pack rat. She loves to hold on to everything. I hate clutter so much that I'm
Yeah.
willing to throw things away that could be worth money just to get them out of my face.
Yeah, I kinda do that too. I go to Goodwill at least once a week. No, they don't look through the bags at the Goodwill I'm going to. They just take it and throw it into these
Hmm.
bins, and I'm like,
Maybe it's
"Okay."
the big city Goodwills.
Maybe I'm
They have
just
to
a
watch a
small
little bit
town.
more. The
Yeah,
small towns, they're still you guys are still dropping off good stuff. In the big
well,
cities, we've picked through all of our shit, and so now we're out of it, and the Goodwill keeps getting bad stuff, and they don't want it because 'cause they're not a dumpster.
so my mom used to be a flight attendant for like 20 years. She traveled and she got to a point where she could make her own schedule, like where she wanted to go. And she would plan trips around, and I think this is so smart. She would plan trips around like going to Orange County or going to, like really ritzy places. And then she'd go to the Goodwill. And she's like, because rich people in Orange County are the same as small town people where they're like, I don't want to deal with this shit. Take it to Goodwill. I mean, there's no difference, but if you're so she would go out there and, find like these things that she could turn around and sell.
Did she ever get any good stuff? Any treasures?
There were like Louis Vuitton bags. And I mean, literally stuff that these people have so much money. I'd be like, put it on Marketplace. This is real. And but no. And she also said in a lot of bags and stuff, they find stuff. So That's interesting too, but
You do so you hear these stories all the time from people that go to Goodwill and they end up with some sort of like dish that they were going to put their butter in, and it ends up being worth $1 million because it was from the ancient Mayan civilization or something like that.
But, like, who would know that? Like, I've purchased things. Right now, I'm kind of on this hunt, this vintage hunt because my niece got married and every table, she did, like, these vintage, like, glasses that she just found for, like, a year she went searching, and now I'm doing it, but, I forgot what I was talking about.
The Goodwill, you vintage
Oh,
glassware from the
anyway,
Goodwill.
so say I go to the Goodwill today and I buy some glasses. I would keep them in my cupboard forever. What makes people take them and find out what they're worth?
I think your crazy Uncle Don comes over for Thanksgiving and he's like a treasure hunter and he's like, dude, I think that might be from ancient Egypt. You should get it appraised on Antique Roadshow. And then they take it on that PBS show and that guy looks at it and he's like, we'll give you 3 million today.
Yeah.
And
Have
they
you ever
take
seen
it
We've
and then
never
you're
done
rich and your life changes forever.
Yeah, that's true. All because you went to the Goodwill.
My grandma used to watch Antiques Roadshow so much that she thought that she could do it, and so there was a time where she was like, "Hey, we're going in this business together, me and you. We're gonna go once a week. We're gonna hit up the Goodwills in Greeley. We're gonna hit up the Arcs in Greeley, and we're gonna pick through. And I've got an eye for this stuff because I watch the Antiques Roadshow, and I'm gonna tell us what to buy, and we're gonna buy it. Then we're gonna resell it on eBay, and we're gonna get rich." We did it one time. We did our first round around. There was 2 Goodwills in town and 1 Arc, so we went to 3 stores in one day. We spent like, I think we ended up spending like $50 that day and bought all this stuff that my grandma thought could possibly be a treasure. We put it in a big cardboard box, and it was my job to take pictures of it all and put it on eBay and put it up for sale. I
And you
never
didn't do
did
it.
my job. Never did my job, and so we never did it again. But I could have been rich. My grandma was convinced that that was our ticket.
Oh my god, I remember your grandma, but every story that I hear makes me laugh because she always had, like, a plan. That's the best. But I
She
think a lot
definitely had a plan when it came to that vintage stuff, and, like, looking back, I wonder, like, what happens if we woulda stuck it out? Because you do hear these stories all the time, like, if we would have went every week,
Yeah,
maybe there was a chance that we struck gold one time, like, we happened to pick up that one tea set that was worth millions of dollars, and that
and
really
it's
was
something
my
that
ticket,
you
and I
and your
blew it.
yeah, well, and it's not like a full-time job that you guys could have gone one day out of the week, gotten some stuff, put it up online, and even if you made like you're talking about these T-shirts, even if you made like, $100 a week, I don't know, is it worth Yeah, hell yeah,
Yeah.
$400 a month, that's a car payment.
Plus my
Uh,
grandma, you gotta understand my grandma, she would never, and I mean never, no matter how much I argued with her, keep any of the money. So if we made $400 off of our loot, she would buy all the stuff, and then she would give me all the money for what we sold, all of it. She wouldn't even keep the money that she had invested. This is the problem with her. She was a bad investor. She would take me out,
no,
and
or
this
maybe
is how
she
our day would go go into the Goodwill. We'd stop at Starbucks on our way to the Goodwills. We'd do all
Yeah.
of our shopping, get done. Then she'd take me to lunch at Chick-fil-A on our way back to the house to say thank you. She'd buy all the stuff, and then I would put it all up on eBay. We would sell it for $500, and she'd give me all $500. And so now
Yeah,
she
but
spent
maybe
$50 on the stuff, $50 on lunch and coffee, and she made $0. She just lost money on this whole endeavor that she was supposed to get rich off of. So I actually saved her money.
No, Shawn, you actually screwed her because she did her job, as you just said. She went above and beyond, and then when it was time for you to do your job, you totally flaked on her. And maybe she wanted to continue to do that, but after week 1 of spending $100 on this and you never selling it, she was like, "I'm not doing that again."
No, she kept begging to go again, and I just never had time.
God,
We
man.
did other things. I didn't just like blow her off. I didn't enjoy it. It wasn't fun. I don't know. I don't have an eye for that kind of stuff. So I'm walking around the Goodwill and she's picking all these like pieces of glass and pottery and stuff. And I'm over there looking at the shoes that some dude has wore to mow his lawn and thinking about paying $4 to buy them. That's
You're like,
gross.
does anybody want these off-white, slightly green New Balance shoes?
I'm randomly
Oh,
holding a razor, and I don't know why.
I don't know why you have a razor right there. Is it a Puebe razor?
I think it's from Shay, so I hope not.
I put it down, brother.
This desk that used to be where I did my podcast before I moved it to the radio station has now been overtaken by Shay as like her little beauty area. And so today I was just
Oh.
like, move everything off the desk. I'm coming back to town. But the razor made it.
Boo.
The razor stayed on the desk, and I have a tendency to fidget with
Hey
something.
everybody,
And this
it's
is just
Sadie
what I
here
got my hands
again.
on.
And
Probably gonna
before
cut
you
myself.
sign off,
You
Not on
do me a
purpose.
favor. Will you go to
Yeah,
our
and
social
again, I
media
mean, I don't.
pages
I
and
put
check
the
out
razor
the pet
down,
of the
Shawn. You're
week?
too
I'm
fidgety
obsessed
to be
with
holding
this
sharp
dog.
objects.
Ryan would divorce
Can
me,
you
but I'm so
believe
close.
it's already
It's a
been 30
tiny Chihuahua,
minutes?
and
Thank
his name is
God.
Little D, and he's
Thanks,
amazing.
Shawn.
And
Which
he's
means
good
it's
with
time
kids.
to sign
He's good
off.
with
We
other
want to thank
animals.
everybody
He's
for listening.
housebroken.
Be
But the
sure
best
to
thing
click the
in Little D's
subscribe button
bio
and
is
follow
the
us on
fact that
social
he does
media.
not like being woken up in a
And
chaotic
we're gonna
way.
start doing
That's
some
like
stuff.
the
I think that's a
only
little more
downside
interactive
to
with
this
people,
dog, which
which I
I'm
haven't
like,
even
yeah,
talked to Shawn
me
about yet.
too.
So it'll be a
So we're
surprise to him as
connected,
well.
but again, I might get a
keep
divorce
listening
if
for
I bring
that
home another pet.
opportunity.
So maybe you
And
would like to adopt
that's it.
Little D.
Say
Well,
bye.
we're working with our friends at
You
Mile
didn't
High
say thank you
Canine
to one
Rescue,
sponsor today.
and
well,
this
do
is
you know
all
what I'm doing
sponsored
now,
by
Shawn?
Casey's Pest
What?
Control Services. We're
I'm
doing the
that's
pet
so
of the
funny
week.
that you
We're
say
hoping
that
to
because
get these
yesterday I
animals
thought I'm gonna
adopted.
start
Every
doing
week, you're
a
gonna get a new
pre-roll
pet
and a
that you may
post-roll
fall in love
video,
with,
so
like
that way they
Little
get like,
D,
it's
which is
not
what
just
they
a
used to call
passing
Shawn in
fancy
high
of like,
school.
thank
I
you, which
stole that
of
joke
course,
from
thank
him.
you to our show
Thank you,
sponsor,
Casey's
Cristiana
Pest Control
Salon
Services,
Spa.
for being the segment sponsor
But
of the Pet
I
of the
wanted
Week.
to, so I'm kind of doing
Details on
that
our
a little
social
bit
media
now,
pages.
where that way for 30 minutes we just talk, which is what nobody wants, but we're doing it anyway. So,
Okay, bye.
my
You're telling
God,
people shit that no one cares about.
you're an asshole.
Are we done?
Goodbye. Yes, I
happy?
said goodbye.
Are you okay? All right, good. I just wanted to make sure you got it all out.